Have you ever wondered why there are days when the moment you step outside, all you want to do is turn around, crawl back into bed, and hug your blanket, while on other days, it is only 7 a.m. and you are already sweating as if you have just run a marathon? Sometimes you complain, "Why is it so cold?" only to grumble a few months later, "How can anyone survive this heat?" And the funny thing is, it happens exactly the same way every year, without ever asking our permission. When I was a kid, I was convinced that the reason we had 4 seasons was simply because Earth liked it that way. Summer was for going to the beach, winter was for wearing coats to get into the mood, autumn was for taking aesthetic photos, and spring was just there to let flowers bloom for fun. I even thought that if Earth were in a bad mood, it could easily give us summer all year long, no need to waste closet space on warm clothes. But as I grew older, someone told me, summer happens because Earth is closer to the sun, and winter happens because Earth is farther away. It sounded pretty reasonable. Closer means hotter, farther means colder, simple everyday logic. If you have ever thought the same way, congratulations. You are not alone. A lot of people believe this, and I did too for a long time. Then one day, I discovered a rather backward truth. Around January, when the Northern Hemisphere is shivering in the cold, Earth is actually closer to the sun than it is in July, when we are complaining about the heat. Wait, closer but colder, farther but hotter? That is when I realized Earth might not be as simple as I thought. Digging a little deeper, I learned that the real cause of the seasons is not distance at all, but something that sounds small yet is incredibly powerful: Earth's tilt. Just a tilt of about 23.5 degrees, but it is enough to make us own wardrobes for all 4 seasons, enough for farmers to plan their planting calendars, and enough to give us bright, lively summers and quiet, reflective winters. If you have ever wondered why Canada can be freezing cold, while New Zealand enjoys beautiful sunshine at the exact same time, or why some places have sunlight all day long and yet remain icy, then this story is for you. And before we continue, if you enjoy science stories told in a simple, fun, and brain-friendly way, do not forget to hit like and subscribe, because who knows, one small click might bring you many fascinating stories to enjoy every night. Now, imagine Earth as a giant spinning top, rotating steadily through space. This spinning top does not stand perfectly upright, it tilts slightly to one side, by about 23.5 degrees. And the fascinating part is that throughout its long journey around the sun, Earth keeps this same tilt. It does not wobble back and forth like someone learning to ride a bicycle. It is this fixed tilt that makes everything happen. When Earth reaches a certain position in its orbit, its upper half, the Northern Hemisphere, leans toward the sun. At that moment, sunlight becomes more abundant, more direct, and lasts longer. Days grow longer, nights grow shorter, and the air has more time to warm up. And just like that, summer arrives. Meanwhile, on the opposite side of the planet, the Southern Hemisphere is tilted away from the sun. Sunlight is weaker, strikes at a lower angle, and daylight hours are shorter. The result is winter. The two hemispheres are like friends standing on opposite ends of a seesaw. When one moves forward, the other moves back. They can never experience the same season at the same time. Long before telescopes or satellites existed, our ancestors recognized this pattern and captured it in simple, down-to-earth sayings, such as, in May, night ends before you even lie down. In October, day ends before you even smile. These lines reflect how people directly sense changes in daylight hours throughout the year, changes that strongly influence temperature. The farther north or south you travel, the more dramatic these differences become. Near the equator, day and night remain nearly equal all year long, so the weather changes very little, and the 4 distinct seasons we know do not really exist. But the farther you move away, the longer summer days become, the shorter winter days feel. and the greater the temperature differences. A very common and fascinating question is, if the Arctic has 24-hour daylight in summer, with the sun never setting, why is it still cold? It sounds contradictory, but the answer lies in the angle of sunlight. In the Arctic, even though the sun shines all day long, it always stays very low in the sky. The light does not shine straight down, it spreads out across the surface, much like a flashlight held at an angle, which is far weaker than when pointed directly. As a result, the energy the ground receives is not enough to melt all the ice and snow. In contrast, in tropical regions, the sun can rise very high in the sky, almost directly overhead, concentrating energy much more intensely and leading to much higher temperatures. Simply put, it is not just about how long the sun shines, but also how it shines. And it is the combination of Earth's tilt, the length of daylight, and the angle of sunlight that creates the familiar pattern of 4 seasons we experience throughout our lives. Once you understand this, the seasons no longer feel like something obvious or ordinary, but rather the result of a delicate and almost miraculous balance. If Earth were tilted just a little more or a little less, everything could be completely different. Some places might become too hot to live in, while others could become too cold for plants to survive. Each season that passes leaves its own unique mark. Spring carries a sense of beginnings. Summer brings energy and light. Autumn moves slowly and quietly, and winter reminds us to slow down and turn inward. All of this comes from a very small tilt, yet one powerful enough to create an entire, colorful world. So the next time you find yourself complaining about the heat or the cold, try to remember that somewhere out in space, Earth is still silently spinning, leaning in the same direction it has held for billions of years, just to bring us these familiar seasons. And perhaps, with that understanding, today's weather will feel a little more precious. If you found this story interesting, easy to follow, and helpful in seeing the world from a different perspective, do not forget to hit like to support the channel, and subscribe so you won't miss the upcoming science storytelling videos. Gentle, engaging, and full of inspiration. Thank you for spending your time listening all the way to the very end. Wishing you a truly pleasant day, no matter what season it is outside. See you in the next video.